everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie, and today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different. Normally I've got a big old chalkboard here next to me. We go over a concept on the chalkboard and then move to the piano and we look at it more there. Today, however, we're going to be looking at something within an actual piano book. Now I'm using Christmas music even though it's July. Today's July 28th as of this recording, but most people know Christmas music. They're relatively familiar tunes, so it offers an easy place to start. So we're just going to start in here, and today we're going to learn about something called a time signature. Now, a time signature, what that is it tells you how many beats are in a measure, and a measure is just a section of the grand staff, and you'll see where you see lines kind of drawing through the staff, those are measure lines. I'll show you those more in detail. But a time signature tells you, one, how many beats are going to be in this measure, and two, which note is going to get one whole beat. So if you've seen one of my previous videos about notes, the quarter note is a quarter of a whole note, and a quarter note will generally get one whole beat. So you can kind of hear that 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of those is a beat. So a time signature is going to tell us how many of those in each measure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, as well as which note is going to get the whole 1, 2, 3, because there are fractions involved. Music likes math, and math likes music. So there are fractions of one beat. So let's take a look in this book. We're going to be looking at, and I'll zoom in for you, but let's just start with, let's start with the first Noel. Now, first off, I would like to say that this book is rather old. This was mine when I was early in my piano lessons. So a lot of these notes you can see are handwritten in by my teacher. So a time signature is this right here, this 4/4. So what this tells us is within each of these measures, that is this line right here and this line here. So between these two lines, we should have a total of 4 beats. That's this top note, or top number, excuse me. The bottom number tells us the number of which note is going to get a 1 beat. So 4 beats to a measure, and this tells us because it's a 4, the quarter note gets 1 count. Because if you pretend that this 4 is a 1, then this is 1/4. So 1/4 equals a quarter note. So in each of these measures, and yes, this beginning does count as a measure, we should have 4 beats. Right here, this is a dotted quarter note, and this is an eighth note. Now, an eighth note, 1/8 is half of 1/4. So a dot always says to add an additional half. Whoops. So a dotted quarter note is telling you it's 1 1/2. So it's 1 and 2. So that's how we count this. Normally you would see these notes, and for example, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. But because you have these eighth notes here, the way we're going to count that is 1 and 2, 3, 4. And that's the way that measure is going to look whenever you're counting it in your head or out loud, whichever's easier. Then you get here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when we get here, it gets a little more interesting, because now we've got eighth notes. We've got 4 of them. So 2 eighth notes is 1/4. 2 eighth notes is 1/4. So what we're looking at then, when we count this, is 1 and 2 and. This is another dotted quarter, so it's going to be 3 and 4. 1, 2, half notes, 3, 4. But we are maintaining that 4 beats to a measure, with the quarter note getting 1 whole count. Now, if you know the tune to Deck the Halls, you can hear that in your head. Da 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 da. See? So it's going 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you kind of sing if you know the tune, you can sing it along for something like this. It can make the counting a lot easier. So enough of my singing. Let's step over to the piano, and then you can hear it on the piano rather than my singing voice. All right, so now we're at the piano. We're going to start here. I'm going to play just the right hand, and we're going to go through this first line so you can hear the counting for this time signature as I go. Now, one thing I should point out is you might see this little symbol right here. And I haven't discussed that too much. I do have a video on sharps and flats, but I called it accidentals. So that's for a different video, but just trust me that I will be playing what this note says to do later on this line. So you'll kind of hear it. So instead of hearing, doesn't even sound right, does it? So it's, there we go. See? Because that symbol comes into play on that note. So let's look at the counting. And remember, I'm just going through the end of this first line, right hand, and I'm going to count out loud. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See? So I hope you found this video helpful for learning time signatures. And if you have any questions, just put them down in the comments. I read any and all comments you have, and I'd love to answer any questions you have. Also, if I've had any of my videos where you've had a question from previously, if there's something maybe you've seen in music you'd like me to look at and talk about, I'm happy to do that too. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.